We've already seen the boulderization of Roald Dahl, and the public generally didn't like that, and so they walked it back a little bit. This is the attempt to remove words like fat from Augustus Gloop's descriptors in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Well, now, CNN reports that the novels of Agatha Christie are the latest works to be revised to remove racist references and other language considered offensive to modern audiences. According to the UK's The Telegraph, publisher Harper Collins has edited some passages and entirely removed others from its new digital editions of some of Christie's detective mysteries featuring Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple. I'm a big Agatha Christie fan. I really enjoy Hercule Poirot. The amendments to the books include changes to the narrator's inner monologue. For example, Poirot's description of another character as a Jew, of course, in Christie's debut novel, The Mysterious Affair at Styles, has now been stripped out of the new version. Now, as a Jew, of course, I can say that I don't find that particularly useful. I think that actually understanding the biases of authors when they're writing is quite useful and historically interesting and necessary in order to actually understand the books that you are reading. If you strip out all of the stuff that we find offensive today from the books, you're missing half of their context. Throughout the revised version of the short story collection, Miss Marple's Final Cases and Two Other Stories, the word native has now been replaced with local, which doesn't change anything. A passage describing a servant as black and grinning has been revised, and the character is now simply referred to as nodding, with no reference to his race. Also, you're not allowed to refer to Nubian people in Death on the Nile. Okay, none of this is going to make the books better in any way, and it's not going to prevent people from taking offense at Agatha Christie's original verbiage. But it is a great way to demonstrate your fealty to the woke idiots who have decided that it's necessary to rewrite all of history in order to appease their modern sensibilities. Well, meanwhile, speaking of woke idiots who are attempting to appease modern sensibilities and, attacking parents in the process, the inexpressibly foolish Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she yesterday was suggesting bad timing here. She said that predatory cisgender and straight men are the ones after your kids. This is a hell of a take.
Many of these disgusting and insinuating attacks on trans and LGBT people are actually projections of what predatory, cisgender, and often straight men do when left alone in the presence of women, or sometimes horribly, children. So instead of getting you to challenge the patriarchy, they're trying to get you to challenge the very gender expressiveness that challenges patriarchy. Don't get it twisted, because a lot of people attacking drag are projecting.
Oh, it's all projecting. So now men gyrating, sexualized around kids, if you object to that, it's because you wish to sexualize kids in some fetishistic way. Oh, the utter insanity and stupidity of this point of view. But again, none of it is designed for the benefit of the children. It's all designed to make a particular constituency feel better about itself. That's all this really is. Get to more on that in just 1 second. First, I need to talk to you about DailyWire's most trusted privacy partner and our premier sponsor of this show, ExpressVPN. Well, it's one thing we have learned in our society. Trust very few people. Why exactly would you trust the big tech bros? Why would you trust them to keep your data safe? Especially when they've made pretty clear that they are giving you free services because they wish to monetize your data. Why would you trust them when it comes to whether they're going to protect you from government that is requesting your data from them, for example? Well, you shouldn't. This is why I use ExpressVPN. Your ISP knows every single website you visit. They can sell that information to ad companies and the tech giants who use it to target you, and they can hand it over to the government. ExpressVPN puts a stop to this by creating a secure encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet so your online activity cannot be seen by anybody. This is the reason I use ExpressVPN on all of my devices. We're talking phones, laptops, Wi-Fi routers, all of it. ExpressVPN is super simple. One button to download, one button, you click it, and now it's activated. If, like me, you believe that your online activity is nobody else's business, get the VPN I trust at expressvpn.com/Ben. Use my exclusive link, EXPRESS, VPN.com/Ben. Get an extra 3 months for free. expressvpn.com/Ben. Final thing that I hate. So this would be, again, major national news story if the parties were reversed. According to Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, he confirmed on Monday that a member of his staff was brutally attacked on the streets of Washington, D.C. over the weekend. He said in a statement, "This weekend, a member of my staff was brutally attacked in broad daylight in Washington, D.C. I ask you to join Kelly and me in praying for a speedy and complete recovery and thanking first responders, hospital staff, and police for their diligent actions." Apparently, the person sustained life-threatening injuries. A suspect was arrested with an assault with intent to kill using a knife. Apparently, it was a repeat stabbing. Again, if a Democrat had been attacked in a Republican area, that, of course, would be worthy of note, but it's a Republican being attacked in a Democratic area, so obviously that is not worthy of note whatsoever. It is completely irrelevant to everyone. Okay, final thing that I hate today, worst take of the day. We were in search for the worst take of the day with regard to this shooting. The worst take of the day actually came courtesy of a person named David Pacman, who is a left-wing podcaster, I believe, and he tweeted this out, quote, "Very surprising that there would be a mass shooting at a Christian school, given that lack of prayer is often blamed for these horrible events. Is it possible they weren't praying enough or correctly despite being a Christian school? Well, that's a hell of a take right there. Is that probably they needed to, they were praying wrong, the kids were praying wrong, so, that's probably why that happened. Or, obviously, he's attempting to mock the idea of religion at all. Isn't prayer supposed to protect you? Behind me, as I mentioned before, is St. Peter's. What if I told David Pakman there's an entire religion predicated on the idea that the Son of God was killed by humans? What if I told you there's an entire religion predicated on the idea that there are people that they call martyrs, and there are a bunch of statues of them right over there, you can see them, and they prayed super hard and also died as martyrs? What if I told David Pakman that? One of my favorite things is when atheists pretend that their questions about theodicy are like the first questions that have been asked about this matter. Oh my God, you're saying that bad things happen to religious people? Well, doesn't that debunk your entire religion? No, actually, let me just explain. It does not debunk any of my religion or any of any religion, because that's the stupidest take of all time. That sometimes God doesn't answer prayers in the way that we wish him to answer our prayers, because God isn't us. But that does not change why people pray. It's so, ugh. Alrighty, we are jumping into the mailbag. Carrie says, if Congress passes the ban on TikTok, would that mean the app stores have to remove it and no one could access it any longer? How exactly would that work? Well, the specifics of the bill are still being worked out, but it would mean that presumably it would act sort of like a sanctions regime. Right now, businesses are not allowed to do business with the Islamic Republic of Iran. It would be the same sort of thing. You are not allowed, the App Store, any company that is organized in the United States would not be allowed to do business with TikTok, essentially, is probably the way that it would work. Julia says, hey, Ben, I'm a huge fan, enjoy watching your show daily. I'd very much appreciate your advice on China, what you think will happen over the next few months. Specifically, I'm being asked to travel to China this summer for work for up to 3 months. I do have specific skills and knowledge my company needs there. It's directly related to my role at the company. However, I've expressed concern for my own safety as a single American woman, especially as we watch tensions escalate. I'm not obligated to go if I'm not comfortable with no ramifications. Do you think China will invade Taiwan in the near future? What would you do in this situation? I really appreciate any insight and advice you can provide. Listen, if you're asking me to put your life at stake by telling you that I don't think that China is going to invade Taiwan in the next 3 months, I'm unwilling to bet your life on this particular matter. I don't think China is going to invade Taiwan in the next 3 months. I think that is probably something that happens over the course of maybe another year or two, if it's going to happen at all. I think they do have a closing window. The biggest thing is if you do go to China, just make sure that you don't pretend that your communications are somehow private. They're not. The Chinese are reading and listening to everything you do, and you're just going to have to treat it that way, because that is, in fact, China is a giant open-air prison state that masquerades as a high-tech economy with openness, and it is not. I mean, they know everything that you're doing. They're monitoring all of it. Alrighty, guys, the rest of the show is continuing right now. You're not going to want to miss it. We will be jumping into the mailbag here from Rome. If you're not a member, become a member. Use code Shapiro at checkout for 2 months free on all annual plans. Click the link in the description and join us.